Everyone, welcome to week 2 of hashtag real life with Ramsteads. I'm so excited that you all are able to join me back again this week. Last week we talked a little bit about how to send a good email and how to have proper email communication. And this week we're going to start a 3-week series on interviewing. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to open up by saying how much I miss you guys and how much I've been appreciating all of the kind emails, Google Classroom updates, and all of the great work you guys have been submitting so far. It's been so much fun to check out all of the amazing things you've been doing. Some of you guys have been doing video projects like videoing your pets at home. Some of you guys have been turning in some really awesome web quests or posters that you guys have been working on. And I'm just very proud as your teacher of everything you're doing despite all of these challenging and unusual circumstances and hard times. I know that we're going to get through it and we're going to come out even stronger than we are right now. So keep up the great work and know that I'm proud of you and that I'm here to help or support in any way that you can. Or if you just want to chat, I'm only a Google email or a Gmail or a Zoom away. So just let me know and know that's an option for you as well. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, we're going to start a 3-week series on interviewing. And emailing is an important communication skill, but I would argue that interviewing and public speaking is probably just as important, if not more important. So this week, we're going to focus on everything you need to do before an interview. Next week, we're going to focus on what to do during an interview. And we're going to wrap up week 3 by talking about what to do after an interview and how to knock out a solid thank you letter and follow-up communication with a nominating or selection committee. So we're going to get started with pre-interview this week. And again, I love the number 3. I broke it into 3 chunks. First, picking the right job. Second, applying for the right job. And third, arriving to the interview when you get offered an interview. So first, picking the right job. So one thing I have to say about here is it's so important that at this point in the interview process, when you are just looking for jobs, it's important that you know your goals and your skills and what qualifies you to get a job. But it's also important that you want to see ahead to the future where you want to end up in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road. So to do this, it's important to know what you want for the future through setting some goals. Okay, so some things I like to think about is what are some things that I want to learn by applying for this new job, some new skills, some new opportunities, some new experiences that I can gain that can better help me in the future in my own life, or maybe even to apply for a different job in the future. Second, if this is a priority of yours, salary, is this going to bring me one step closer to the desired salary or income that I would like to sustain my family or sustain myself? Third is geography. So this is a big one for a lot of people. Will this job help me reach geographically where I want to end up? So I know several of my friends who I graduated college with last year ended up moving far, far, far away, like think Georgia, Texas, California. And they are currently working there because those were the only jobs that they had available. But they know that if they accept those jobs and they move farther away, they'll be in a better spot to get a job in Minnesota or closer to where they want to end up someday because they're in trainee roles right now. And those aren't they kind of ship you out to different locations for those, okay? And then the last one is connection. So think about the job that you're applying for. Will it help you connect with individuals in a particular industry or in an organization that can help you get closer to that dream job? So a quote that I was once told a long time ago is that it's not necessarily about who you know, but it's about who knows you, right? So who knows you as the candidate is so much more important than necessarily who you may or may not know. Because if they know you, they're going to seek you out, right? So it's important to really remember that, especially when you're thinking about connections and applying for specific jobs. I would say at this point, too, when you're picking the right job, it's important that you know what skills or certifications you can bring to the table, whether that's a high school diploma, a 2 or 4 year certificate, or a degree in a specific area. Maybe you're good at communicating, or you're good at working with diverse groups of people, or you're good at leadership skills. These are things that you need to think about when you're applying for a job, and keep those in like a running document so that when the right job comes up and you see that job posting, you can match those skills to the job description and know that it's a good fit for you. This leads me into part 2, which is applying for the job, right? So the first thing you're going to want to do before you even think about filling out that application is read the posting, read it again, read it a third time, and maybe even think about memorizing it, quite honestly, because that job posting is going to help you know what elements to include in your resume and your cover letter to make you a more successful candidate overall. You'll want to make sure that the job is a good fit for you. You should read that job description and say, yes, this screams Tanner, or this screams Billy, or this screams Darla, like whatever your name is. Like, you want it to scream your name. And that, my friends, is how you know it's the right job to apply for. You don't want to force yourself into a business or a company and make up skills that you don't have. And believe me, it's pretty darn easy if I'm in the interview committee to read through you and see that you are just trying to make a fit work that isn't going to work. Okay. So once you've identified that right job and you have found the application materials, they're more than likely going to ask you to submit a minimum of 3 things. And that is a job application, a resume, and a cover letter. Okay. So the job application, a couple pro tips for this: never leave anything blank. If something doesn't apply to you, write NA. If you don't have a middle name, looks kind of awkward, I would write NA. If you don't have an ACT or SAT score, write NA. Fill every line in on that application, whether it is paper or electronic, and that will help you out. Okay. Second pro tip for that is proofread everything. So double check your grammar, punctuation, spelling, capitalization, and make sure all the information is accurate too. Okay, so once you filled out that job application, it's then time to work on your resume. Your resume should be broken down into several key components, and I could go on and on and on about how to write a good resume, but I'm just going to give you the abbreviated crash course version. First thing, your name should be at the top. Your name should be written in big, bold letters. It should be the biggest thing on your resume, and maybe even add a splash of color to it, like a maroon or a dark navy or a green, like an emerald green, one of those colors. And then put your contact information underneath it, and then have the following headings. First, education. If you want to be creative too, you can write that in the same color you wrote your name in to kind of match and have a consistent theme. So first, education. I would write down the name of the schools you've attended, along with your GPA, if it's something you want to brag about. Preferably if it's above a 3.0, I would include it on there. Your ACT score and any relevant classes you've taken that might set you apart from candidates. So I would include that in your education section. Then I would move into my work experience section, which is where you would include any specific work experiences, paid or unpaid, that you had to apply for. So this could be an internship. It could be a job you have working at Burger King or Dairy Queen, or it could be doing some side landscaping work, like whatever you do, list them there. List who you worked for, the company you worked for, where that was located, and the dates of employment. Okay, and then you're going to have bullet points underneath each specific work experience that tell me what you did. So worked for 30 clients to install irrigation systems, or communicated with 10 coworkers on a regular basis through email. So specific things that you did in that job, 3 to 5 bullet points per experience will probably be good. And then list all those experiences, if you have multiple, in reverse chronological order. So your newest experience should be listed first, and your oldest experience should be listed at the bottom. Okay, so we have our education section. We have our work experience section. Our third section is going to be leadership and community involvement. So this is where you put your church experiences, your athletics, your FFA experiences, any clubs or organizations you're involved in. Those all go there. Same things as work experiences apply. You want to have bullet points. You'll want to have your dates and the location for each experience, and list in reverse chronological order. At the bottom, if you still have room, I would include any skills or certifications you have. I would also include references if you have room to put them on there. Okay, so your references, I failed to mention this in the application portion, but your references will either want to be shared in the application or on your resume. These are going to be individuals who can vouch for you if the interview committee wants to verify your skills or experiences from somebody other than yourself. Some general tips for this: don't include a family member or a friend, include a teacher, include someone you've worked for in the industry that you're applying for, preferably, or maybe your current employer if they're comfortable speaking on your behalf. Maybe include an advisor or a coach, somebody who is going to vouch for your skills, right? So I would include 3 references that are not personal, friends, or family members. It's very, very important. Even if you worked for your dad or uncle, don't include them on there. Find somebody else to vouch for your experiences, okay? So you have your resume, and then the last thing you're going to probably submit is your cover letter. And your cover letter is going to be formatted a little bit differently than your resume, but you will still have your contact information and your name at the top. Then you're going to divide it into 4 paragraphs. Now, first, you're obviously going to have like Dear Selection Committee or Dear whoever the name of whoever is hiring is. You'll put their name there and then the 4 paragraphs. So the first paragraph is going to be just a general introduction of who you are, how you heard about the job, and why you think it's a good fit. Boom. Second and third paragraphs are going to be drawing out specific things from your resume and bringing them to life. So if you are applying for a job at a vet clinic, maybe you want to highlight that you took a veterinary science class, or that you were on the FFA veterinary science team, or that maybe you were on the baseball team or the softball team and you had to utilize communication skills, and you can utilize those in the vet clinic when you're working with clients or when you're working with doctors or veterinarians or what have you in the clinic, okay? So you want to bring those experiences to life and apply those skills or those experiences to how that'll benefit you in the workplace once they hire you, okay? Then those are going to be your 2 middle paragraphs, and your final paragraph is going to be thanking them for their time, for reviewing your materials, and then opening it up for additional communication, or them reaching out to you and listing your contact information again at the very end, whether that be your phone number or your email, and preferably both. And then sincerely, and then your signature followed by your name typed out so they can read who submitted it, not just your John Hancock signature. Okay, so those are the 3 things that you're going to submit. Before you hit the send button on any of that or submit any documents, though, I would highly encourage you, send your resume, cover letter, and your application to a friend. Send it to me. I'd love to proofread it. Send it to your mom. My mom proofreads all of my stuff all the time, and I'm 22 years old. So honestly, just send it out to people. They'll proofread it, give you some honest criticism, and then you can edit and improve. The other thing is, make sure, again, that you've memorized basically that entire posting, and that you pull out specific keywords like communicate or collaborate, efficiency, like things that they look for in that job description. Showcase that you have those skills or experiences in your resume, cover letter, and application. Okay. So we've picked the right job. We've applied for the job. Now it's time for an interview. Okay. We're not going to go super in depth with this. As I said, next week we're talking about how to actually do an interview, but I wanted to give you some just general pro tips what to do before an interview. Okay. So I would arrive to an interview 15 minutes before the interview is scheduled in appropriate attire. We'll talk about what that looks like next week. But when you're in your car, make sure to eat one of these, okay? You can't see, this is a mint. Mints are very, very good at activating a taste receptor on your tongue that will help activate neurons in your brain, and it's going to make you think faster and more clearly and more efficiently. So mints are really good. I would suggest stealing them from Taco Bell. As you all know, I love Taco Bell, but they got lots of good mints, and they have a little cinnamon burst in the middle. Definitely would recommend checking those out. So grab some mints, eat one, make sure it's gone and dissolved or in your belly before the interview happens. Because obviously right now I'm talking with the mint in my mouth, and it's kind of obvious and awkward, and it's weird for me to talk with it in my mouth. But eat your mint, make sure it's gone, and then enter the building with your dissolved mint 5 to 10 minutes before the interview actually starts. So you want to get to the site 15 minutes early and plan for plenty of time in case there's backup traffic or a semi overturns or you get all the red lights. Like, you want to plan to be 15 minutes early, then chill in your car, listen to some pump up tunes, call mom or dad or a friend, have them fill your cup and give you some pep talk, and then go in 5 to 10 minutes early. Okay. So this is kind of an overview of the pre-interview stuff. Next week, we are going to dive into how to actually conduct yourself in a real interview setting. And then we'll wrap up in week 3 by discussing, of course, how to post-interview. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I cannot restate enough how proud I am to be your teacher and of all the hard work you guys have already done with this distance learning. Keep it up. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know. And be sure to answer the question linked in Google Classroom below to get your attendance for the week. Thank you very much. Hang in there. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.